Hello, welcome to my channel. In this episode, I will be reviewing for you an African violet called PT-Ianina. It was hybridized by Tatyana Pugacheva, a Russian hybridizer from the city of Kursk. I will include a link to her online catalog in the description box under this video. All of the names of the hybrids that Tatyana Pugacheva produced have a prefix PT standing for her last initial Pugacheva and the first initial Tatyana in front of the names of the hybrids. I received this plant from Violet Barn about 5 months ago in September of 2019, and here is what it looked like on the day when it arrived. PT-Ianina is a standard variety with a dark green foliage on the compact rosette. It's a very young plant, and at this point it has reached about 9.5 inches in diameter. And the standard varieties grow from 8 inches across and above, and there's large standards as well that grow above 16 inches. Since this plant is described as a compact standard, I will assume that it will not grow above 16 inches, hopefully, because I have very little space, free space left on my plant stands. I have to be honest. So the flowers of PT-Ianina are described as fully double, light pink to pastel white carnation blooms with slightly darker edge. The hybridizer describes them as large, light pink, simple and semi-double flowers along the edge of the petals, decorated with a dark pink mesh and light green ruffle. And this plant has abundant flowering. When I saw pictures on the internet of this variety, I was drawn instantaneously to the beauty of the blooms. So we see on the back that they have dark green-brown edge, the younger blooms, and in the front they are very ever so lightly pink cream color with dark, very dark thin raspberry colored edge. I hope you can see it on camera here. They're truly spectacular. From afar they just look like white full doubles, but when you look up close and you look carefully, you will see the full beauty of the blooms of this hybrid. And I like that they stand tall. The bloom stalks are strong, or relatively strong I should say. I mean, they don't really flap on top of the foliage. So I like this variety a lot, and I also like the contrast between the dark green leaves and the light pastel pink carnations. It's really a spectacular hybrid in my opinion. When the blooms get old, and I left this old bloom, this was the very first bloom of this plant, so that you can see that it changes color to beige, peachy beige, and it's still pretty. I didn't want to remove it because it still looks nice. I will have to remove it eventually, but I think the plant overall looks really harmonious. The flowers are about 2.5 inches in diameter, and here they are in comparison to a dime coin. So these are really large blooms. If you like large blooms, ruffles, pastel colors, this is the variety for you. It's an easy grower. However, I noticed that it's very sensitive to direct sunlight, and I left a leaf here where you can see the consequences of having too much light. So these are the brown spots here. It's because first it was under very strong LED with high intensity. It was under 100K and 4800 lumen, and so I had to increase the distance between the lights and the shelf on which this plant stands, so that to decrease the intensity of the light. And it was also standing very close to the window, on the east facing window, so I removed it further away from the window. So when you grow this variety, be mindful of how much light, direct light exposure it gets. It doesn't like too much light. And here's another example of this I believe was caused by the shock when it was transplanted. I believe when I first received it, it was very hot, and so I repotted it very soon, and I think it got over fertilized a little bit. But in the center, when it got acclimated to my growing conditions, we see that the young leaves started growing nicely. So it has been a little difficult, but not too difficult of a variety to grow. This variety is growing under a combination of LED light, as I mentioned, and the natural light on the east facing window. And the temperatures we have currently are lower 70s to upper 60s. We have 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and the humidity now is 43%, and it is rather low. The highest was 55%, and it was at night because we had some rain yesterday. So I will need to start my humidifier running again to increase it back to the 50% humidity. So this is a little bit low. I try to maintain the humidity in the 50s. It grows on a wick, and I've spoken about my wick growing method a little bit in every video, and I think I will make a separate video where I will just be potting a new plant on the wick, so I can share with you what my wicking method is and how I pot plants on wicks. This receives, in addition to the tap water that I let stand about 2 to 3 days in the open reservoirs and let it come to room temperature, I also use 1/8 teaspoon per gallon of water of the Dyna-Gro liquid plant food fertilizer at the ratio of 7:9:5 nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And it has some microelement nutrients list on the reverse label, and I will make a video about fertilizers soon. So in the meantime, here it is again, PT-Ianina by Pugacheva. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful variety. Thank you for joining me today. If you like this video and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do subscribe, and I will see you again on the next episode of my African Violet reviews.